Welcome. This is a yoga class for our knees, to take care of the health of our knees and our hips and our feet. I'm Janie and this is Talia, and she's going to be assisting me today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bounce in our legs and our arms just to get blood flow and circulation in, and breathing as you do this. And this helps to just bring circulation to your knees and your hips and your ankles and your shoulders. Good. And then pull back. Yeah. So it's like you're just pulling back. Yeah. Good. And then just opening up your arms. And you can keep bending your knees and breathing. This also helps to get blood flowing to all the different parts of our body before we start. 2 or 3 more. Yep. Good. Okay. And then open up your feet a little bit wider. Yep. And then you're just going to move side to side. And you can release your opposite heel when you do it. Yeah. Looking back behind you, as far back as you can. This puts a twist in your spine. And now look forward and keep twisting. And then this puts a twist in your neck. A couple more. One more. Good. Okay. So now we're going to come into a chair position. You want to switch? Yeah. Yeah. And then exhale. Bring your hands over your heart center, so yeah, and then inhale up. And so you can keep going, and I'm just going to talk about the knees. So just come down and, yeah, coming down. Good. And do it, actually, I'll erase this. What you can do, just come up. So what I want you to do is you're just going to go up like this, inhale, and then exhale. And then reach up, inhale. And exhale. Yeah. And turn to face the camera. And now do it a couple more times and hold. Good. So as Talia is going down, you want to make sure that the knees track over the first and second toes so they don't knock in or they don't knock out. Okay, do one more, Talia, and then we're going to stay and hold. So come on up. And now exhale and stay, if you can. So what you want to think about also is bringing your weight back towards the heels, so it takes some of the pressure out of the knees. And you don't want the knees to go past the toes. You want to make sure that they're back a little bit, because that puts pressure. You doing okay? Okay, let's do a couple more. Draw the tailbone under just a little and lift up and look straight ahead. So yeah, lifts up and apart. Good. And then up. And hands can just release down. Good. And then you can shake out. Yeah. So we're going to find just a strong mountain pose. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to begin by standing in a parallel position. So if we had skis on, you'd be skiing straight down the mountain. As opposed to if your toes are slightly turned out, then your skis would go, whoa, you'd go into a split, or if they're turned in. So right when you're parallel, good. Now see if you can lift your toes and spread your toes and push down. And when you push down, feel the muscular energy of the thighs coming up. And let's do that one more time. Lift your toes, spread your toes, and push down. Good. And now when you're pushing down, it's important that you bring weight into the balls of the feet, so the inside of the feet and the outside of the foot, and then the inside of the heel and the outside. So there's 4 corners. So if your foot was a car, the wheels, where the wheels of the car would be, you're going to equally put weight on each corner of your foot. And then see if you can inhale the arms up. And then bring your palms overhead and exhale over your heart center. Keep pressing down in your feet as your arms go up. Inhale, let's do it one more time. And then exhale, hands over the heart center. And then just hold for a couple more breaths and try to lift your kneecaps up so you're really activating the quadriceps. It's important for the knees to have strong quadriceps on both sides. Good. And then you can just relax and bend your knees and shake out your foot, each foot. Good. Now let's come down onto the mat, and we're going to have a seat in what's called Dandasana, staff pose. So, so your feet can come out, and there's different options here. So you want to try and sit in a 90-degree angle, and if you're not flexible, I'll do the modification. Talia is going to sit up in her Dandasana, and if you have tight hamstrings, sit up on a blanket or a pillow, and what that does is it helps you to get up and over your legs. If your hamstrings are really tight, bend your knees. Then see if you can reach your arms up, and exhale, just forward fold over your legs. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And this is stretching our hamstrings and our low back, and just releasing for a couple more breaths. And I always in yoga flex the feet because it helps to really stretch deeper into the hamstrings as opposed to pointing the toes. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths here, and you can release your head down. Good, and then slowly roll yourself up. Once we come up, we're gonna, I call it windshield wipering. So bend your knees, and we're just gonna windshield wiper the knees side to side. And this starts to really work into our hips. Sometimes if our hips are really tight, it pulls in the knees. And so we wanna take care of our hips too. Now we're gonna come into, in dance we call it 4th position sitting. So you're just gonna keep your knees bent and then turn your knees over to one side. Yeah, okay. Then from here, just take your hands in front. Is there a bug? And then release over. So instead of going behind, you're gonna take one more. Yep. And then release. And you can put your hands or your forearms down and release over. Do you wanna turn your mat and get on? Are you okay? Yeah. And this gets into the outer hip. So it would be the outer, if her right leg is in front, it gets on the outer right hip and the deep rotator muscles of the hip. And then if you would like to extend this leg, reach it back, you can actually reach it back. Yeah. And then that'll get your hip flexor of the left hip right here. It's really good to have nice kind of open hip flexors. If it's at all possible, you don't want to feel any pain in the front knee, but if you turn your body so that you come a little more forward, are you okay with that? Yeah. And then if you can walk your forearms forward and then release over your leg, you'll get deeper. Now, if this is not comfortable for you, keep your back knee. So there's always options according to what your body can do, and then forward fold. So I would either stay in this, it's actually called a stag position in yoga, or a pigeon. Talia's doing the full pigeon. And if you stay longer than 30 seconds, your muscles release a little bit more because your body trusts that you're going to stay here for a while and it's not going to jump up and it has to contract. So we'll take just 2 more breaths here. Good. And then slowly walk yourself back up. And then you can come onto your right hip and bring your leg around. And then windshield wiper your legs a little bit again. And just notice the hips. Good. And then we'll drop them over to the other side, over to the left side, and taking your hands. And then walking your forearms forward over that left. And you'll feel a nice deep stretch in the outer left hip now. stay here for a couple breaths. And if you want to do the second version of it, then you bring your leg back. Yep. Always beware of your knee. You want to make sure you're not feeling any pain in that front knee. And if you're able to, walk your hands and bring your forehead down so it relaxes. And if you can't touch your forehead down, I'm going to put a block under Talia's head just to show the modification. And by putting your head on a block, it helps to release the back of the neck. Also, if you don't have a block, you can stack your fists. So I'll show you. You can stack your fists and then put your forehead on the fist. And that helps to release the back of the neck because you're building a shelf. And then we'll stay for a couple more breaths. Good. And then slowly walk your hands back up and come onto your right hip. And then bring your legs around and windshield wiper the legs just to release the muscles. Good. So we're going to use a belt now. If you don't have a belt at home, maybe you have a bathrobe belt or a strap or something. Okay. So we're going to stretch our hamstrings. Our hamstrings run down the backs of our legs, and they also run on the inside and the outsides of our knees. And so in order to keep our knees aligned properly, our hamstrings need to be flexible. So we're going to stretch our hamstrings by, first thing you're going to do is just lie down and hug your knees into your chest. And then you can either make a loop with your belt or you can just use both sides of your belt. And let's put it around your right foot and then extend your right leg up. Now for people, I'm just going to talk you through this. You can put your foot down. For people with really tight hamstrings, keep your knee bent. And if you have a little more flexibility, then you can extend this leg. So extend this leg out and you can flex your feet. Good. And so here, you want to think about straightening your knee as much as you can. Your leg won't go up as high, but you get deeper into your hamstrings. And I like to put the belt right on the ball of my foot, so I'm just going to shift it right here, and that just, yeah. And then from here, take several breaths. So you want to fully inhale and exhale, and as you exhale, drop your navel down, and then see if you can roll your shoulders down and back towards the mat, and that helps to work more in the back muscles. And then the straight leg that's down on the mat, if you can think about really pressing it down, and then as you exhale, you pull the leg in. Good, and we'll just stay for a couple more breaths. And then to release, first release your bottom leg, so bend your knee and then release this leg. Yep. And then we'll switch. And if you don't have a belt at home, that's okay. You can always just hold on to the back of your leg. And then aligning the body, I think, is the most important thing. And Talia's really flexing this bottom foot, almost like she's standing up on a floor. And she's activating her bottom leg as well into the quadricep. And then it's important that your chin doesn't stick up. Sometimes we'll stick our chin up. So if you think about your head being down, but your chin coming towards your chest, you grow your spine as long as you can. And then exhaling is really important because when you exhale, that releases the leg towards the torso. And we'll stay for just a couple more breaths. Good, and then slowly release, and then bend this knee, and then release your leg down, and you can release the belt. And then hug your knees into your chest, and this helps to stretch the low back. Drop your shoulders, take a deep breath in, and exhale, release.